Just 2 days before the Week 12 matchup on Thursday Night Football with the Houston Texans, the Buffalo Bills got a gift from the people down in H-Town as starting quarterback C.J. Stroud will be out for Thursday's matchup as he is still not cleared out of concussion protocol. Texans quarterback Davis Mills will get the start for Houston here, and I think that's a gift for the Buffalo Bills here. Once again, going against a starting quarterback that is actually the backup. If you remember, a few weeks ago, the Bills absolutely dismantled the Carolina Panthers because Andy Dalton was the starting quarterback. Now, they have Davis Mills, who is 2-0 as a starter in relief of C.J. Stroud so far this year, but I think they're going to have a much easier time against Mills than they would have against C.J. Stroud. We're going to tell you exactly why in just a moment, but this is why you subscribe to the Bills Breakdown. I'm going to tell you guys, when we hear Bills news, we make a video immediately. So what we hear is Bills news, like today, with an injury, big time one, ahead of Thursday Night Football. We bring you guys a Bills video. And if you ask them what it costs to subscribe, there is no cost. It's 100% free Bills coverage all season long. We will also be live for Bills versus Texans on Thursday night as well. So make sure you join us and turn your notifications on as well so you never miss a piece of content here at the Bills Breakdown. All right, so this is a big-time gift for the Bills because C.J. Stroud at the start of the season wasn't necessarily playing great football. The Texans' offense was anemic, and they were, I think they were 0-3 to start the season. They've really been heating up over the last few weeks, and that's because of C.J. Stroud. He had just been starting to play his best ball of the season, and if we look back to last year when the Houston Texans matched up with C.J. Stroud, he absolutely tore you apart. He nearly threw it at a 75% completion percentage, 28 of 38, 331 yards through the air, absolutely tore apart the Bills' pass defense. A 1-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, but the Bills were not able to get any pressure on C.J. Stroud in Week 5 of the 2024 season either. Only sacked him one time. That's going to have to change if they want to make an impact this week. Look, C.J. Stroud's a good football player, and the Bills are going to be in a better spot this week without him in the lineup. There's just no debating that whatsoever. But we have to remember that the Texans have been winning football games with Davis Mills at the helm. They are 2-0 with Davis Mills as a starter this season. He ended up running in a dagger touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars in his first start. But other than that, have these two wins for the Houston Texans really been because of Davis Mills? Well, I'll tell you, he has kept things clean for the most part. He did throw a pick against the Jaguars in Week 10, but in Week 11, he kept things pretty clean against the Tennessee Titans. That one was probably a little bit too close for comfort for Texans fans out there because the Titans were able to get this Davis Mills in this game. They sacked him 4 times in that matchup. The Jaguars were able to sack him twice, and even when he came in relief of C.J. Stroud in that Broncos game early on, they were able to sack him twice as well. This is a guy who turns pressures into sacks, and the Bills are going to have to take advantage of that this week because we know that they can get to the quarterback. So this is not because of Davis Mills here, and there's really one big difference that I kind of just alluded to between these two quarterbacks and kind of how they affect this Houston offense. The difference for the Texans here is that C.J. Stroud is elite under pressure. He was 8 for 10 for 119 yards and a touchdown with no picks against both the Niners and the Broncos, two teams that know how to defend, when pressured with just a 12.5 pressure to sack ratio. Now, when you flip that over to Davis Mills, since taking over for C.J. Stroud, Davis Mills is 11 of 31 when facing pressure for just $150 and 5 turnover-worthy plays with a 19.5 pressure to sack ratio. So the real thing that C.J. Stroud provides over Davis Mills for this offense is the out-of-structure ability to create plays and look downfield and basically just use his legs to keep the offense moving the ball. Davis Mills cannot do that whatsoever, and I'm sure Davis Mills is going to want to get revenge for what he had to endure against the Buffalo Bills way back when in his rookie season. He's going to be looking to rectify this performance here. 11 of 21, and look, this is 4 years ago. I'm not going to take the most away, but the Bills absolutely ate his lunch, man. 4 picks in that game. They sacked him 3 times. He couldn't even eclipse 100 passing yards. So maybe they're going to have a pretty easy time like they did with Andy Dalton this week. But at the end of the day, he's still an NFL player. He's still a guy who started a bunch of games in this league and has won a bunch of games in this league. You cannot underestimate his talent. But let's be honest, this guy is not that good. And he takes a lot of chances down the field as well. This is a player who, on average, has thrown it more than 10 yards down the field. And that could result in a lot of turnover-worthy plays and hopefully takeaways for this Bills defense. But one thing that Davis Mills has done very well is build a connection with Nico Collins. You must watch out for Nico Collins in this game. In Week 10 against the Jags, he had 7 catches for basically a $140. And then in Week 11 against the Titans, had 9 catches for nearly 100 and a touchdown as well. So what backup quarterbacks do more often than anybody is pepper their star receivers. If the Bills can take away Nico Collins, if the Bills can get to Davis Mills and put pressure on him, this is going to be a very, very good day for this Buffalo Bills defense. With that being said, what is your concern level with Davis Mills at the quarterback position? Because we also have to worry about him getting the ball quickly out to Woody Marks as well, who's one of the best missed tackle generators in all of football. What's your concern level with Davis Mills at quarterback starting for the Houston Texans on Thursday? Scale it for me down in the comment section. 1 being no concern whatsoever. This guy is a scrub. 100 being, well, this guy's 2-0. He's about to torch us this week. What do you guys have to say? Let me know in the comment section. Because I think that the Bills should be a little bit more concerned with other things on the football field. This Texans defense is ferocious. And one flash in the pan week of Bills offense looking really good in week 11, against a team that, is good but isn't great. It worries me a little bit. So we're going to talk about the Bills' offense here against a ferocious Texas defense in just a moment. First, I got to tell you guys about our sponsor on today's show. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is even better on PrizePicks, and new users can get hooked up with $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5 at the best daily fantasy sports app in the game. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So download the best daily fantasy sports app in the game with PrizePicks. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in watching your favorite sports. You can win up to 2,000 times your money watching your Buffalo Bills on Thursday night. It's also becoming a social event as well, where you can follow other creators, follow celebrities, follow your friends, and copy their lineups into your own using the brand new feed tab. If you wanted to copy this lineup for Sunday's football action, because I was feeling a little bit surgical going after this Saints-Falcons game. I got my finger on the pulse of this one. Chris Olave, more than 57.5 receiving yards. Kirk Cousins, as he gets the starting job back once again, with 218.5 passing yards. I'm going the less on that. And then Tyler Shuck, more than 185.5 passing yards. I'm taking that. You can take them or fade them. Just do it at PrizePicks. Download the app today and use that code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. The Houston Texans might have the best defense in the NFL. I don't think it's hyperbolic, considering that they have surrendered the least points out of any team so far this season. But they have some absolute dogs on that defense, and it all starts with the two-headed monster that they have on their pass rushing attack. Danielle Hunter, I mean, this guy's past the age of 30, but he's still playing like one of the best pass rushers in all of football. And then you got spring chicken Will Anderson, who was just drafted a couple of years ago, and he's already ascended to the upper echelon of pass rushers in this league. And they have some stats that are going to frighten Bills fans here because it is going to be a doozy. I know the Bills have one of the best offensive lines in the league, but they are going to have their hands full with these two guys right here. Danielle Hunter is likely to match up on the right side of things, which would mean he lines up opposite Deion Dawkins, who's going to have a tough matchup. And then Will Anderson is going to do most of his work against Spencer Brown on the right tackle spot. Listen to this stat of what these two guys can do getting to the quarterback because it's ridiculous. Will Anderson has 50, which is the 4th most, and Danielle Hunter with 42, tied for the 6th most, are each in top 10 in the NFL in pressures this season. They're the only 2 teammates in that group, and they're the only 2-teammate duo with more than 40 pressures each. Both Anderson with 67 is the 5th most, and Hunter with 59, the 6th most, have faced a top 10 volume of chip blocks as well. So the Bills are probably going to employ this a lot too, with throwing Jackson Hawes at the end of the line of scrimmage and whatnot. Anderson has been particularly quick on his pass rushes, averaging a .79 get-off, which is the 9th fastest, and the generating 24 of his 50 pressures in under 2.5 seconds, good for the 3rd most quick pressures in the league. So it's going to have to be one of those things where Josh Allen's getting the ball out quick, and it's going to have to be Gabe Davis getting open off the line of scrimmage, Josh Palmer getting open off the line of scrimmage, Khalil Shakir, can you be a factor this week after you did absolutely nothing in Week 11? Like I said, Danielle Hunter is going to be going up against Deion Dawkins in this game, and I think it is a heavyweight matchup here. When you look at the numbers for these two guys, Deion Dawkins allows a pressure rate of 7.0. That is the 7th lowest rate among left tackles with 150 pass block snaps. Meanwhile, Danielle Hunter has a 15.2% pressure rate. That is 6th highest in all of football. So who is going to win this battle? That could determine who ends up winning this game on Thursday. And I alluded to the performance a little bit earlier with Davis Mills and what he did against the Bills way back in 2021, but there's a performance of our own Josh Allen that looks honestly quite similar to what Davis Mills did in his rookie season. This, although was in an MVP season for Josh Allen, he went 9 of 30 in this game against Houston, could not get anything going, and he was under a lot of pressure in this game as well. Did have 54 rushing yards on only 4 carries in this one, but it didn't do anything for the Bills. Like, they ended up having a last-second decision at the end of the game, which proved costly. They ended up losing this game by 3, and Josh Allen was not moving this ball down the field, doing the offense no favors. And is that entirely his fault? No, because why do I bring this whole segment of the video up? Josh Allen was under heavy pressure in that game, pressured on 15 of his 34 dropbacks against Houston. So clearly, this Texans pass rush knows how to get to Josh Allen. It's up to the Bills and Joe Brady and this offensive staff to be able to mitigate that, to be able to limit the pressure opportunities that Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, and even the Texans defensive tackles who have been solid this year, getting to Josh Allen. And we've been talking about the Texans pass rush. We're talking about their defensive line. We haven't even talked about how good their secondary has been so far this year. I mean, Derek Stingley Jr. is, you could argue, the best cornerback in all of football. And now they have a guy in Kamari Lassiter who's a great complement, a great athlete next to Derek Stingley Jr. there. Listen to this more next-gen stats from these two guys. We got Kamari Lassiter and Derek Stingley Jr. have spent a combined 4 minutes and 10 seconds in tight coverage, which means you're within 1 yard of the receiver they're covering this season, the 7th most time among quarterback duos. Lassiter has faced 16 tight window targets, tied for the 8th most among defenders. Stingley has allowed just 3.5 average yards of separation in coverage this season, 13 fewest among 65 cornerbacks with 250 coverage snaps. So what do we know about the Bills receivers? They do not know how to separate. Hopefully with this new crop and this new injection of life, Tyrell Shavers, Gabe Davis, Josh Palmer, and obviously Shakir as well, hopefully they are able to separate a little bit more. But like I said with the offensive line versus the defensive line, these receivers for Buffalo have their work cut out for them. There is one notable loss on the Houston defense here, as Jalen Petrie went down a few weeks ago, and he still remains out for Houston. One of the better safeties in this league, one of the better just playmaking safeties, ball-hawking safeties in all of football. They're going to be without him, so maybe the Bills' passing attack could have a little bit easier of a time than normal against this Houston defense. Now, with Petrie out and them having a backup safety in there and them kind of being so good in terms of forcing tight windows and sticking on receivers for a long time, what I want to see from this Bills offense this week is more play action, because they were employing that in the beginning of this past week's game, and they were using play action more on first and second down than they have all season long. I also want to see more quick strikes, these more quick slants to Gabe Davis, Josh Palmer. Like, just get the football moving up and down the field and get that Houston defense on their toes, which will also in turn open up the run game for Buffalo. So they got a gift playing Davis Mills, but it's going to be a tough battle against the league's best defense in the Houston Texans. I'm fired up for this game, and I want the Bills to go out there and destroy the Texans on Thursday night. If you want the Bills to destroy the Texans, go down below, hit that thumbs up icon for me, like today's video, as that will do it for today's show. Or you can also give me a follow over on Twitter, because we'll be live tweeting during the game as well, at Tyler J. Smith, 2 H's because the name's common, but I am not. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well, youtube.com/Bills News for the latest and greatest on your Buffalo Bills all season long. We'll also be live for Bills vs. Texans on Thursday night. We'll see you guys there, and as always, let's go Buffalo.